Yo, welcome back. Another episode of Virtual Huddle. Got something a little different today. Gonna tap into some of this NFL news. How y'all feeling today, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Los Angeles is up again. How you doing, Kay?
Me, I'm doing all right. Yeah, you're right. Some big news out of Los Angeles today. Surprising news. I mean, took me
Hey,
by a shock.
well, great news for me and my Pittsburgh Steelers. Myles Garrett has been shipped off to the Rams for Jared Verse, first round pick in the 27 draft, the second in the 28, and the third in the 29. I can't really say much, but I'm happy about Myles Garrett being gone. Jared Verse, two-time Pro Bowler, but he's not the same guy. No telling what they're gonna do with those draft picks. As we've seen, they've made some interesting decisions, but you know what I'm saying? Okay, I know you got some opinions on both sides of this trade.
So yeah, when this trade first came through, I'm sitting in Chick-fil-A. I'm thinking, I think somebody texted to the chat and said Myles Garrett to the Rams. And I'm like, they trolling. But nah, they not trolling. So this is a big trade because it just signifies that the Rams, are a F them picks team. They told you, those draft picks are question marks. So they want definitive. And Myles Garrett, he is probably the most definitive player in the league. I mean, he just broke the sack record, and then he enters on another team the next year. That is kind of crazy to say out loud. But as far as the Rams, man, they fixed everything well, I am not going to say everything. They fixed a lot of their weaknesses. I mean, they signed 2 cornerbacks. They got one of the best corners in the league, Trent McDuffie, and then they paid him $30 million a year. They paid Jalen Watson, I think, 3 years, $30 million. So that's $10 million a year. Then they traded for Myles Garrett, and he's making $40 million a year. They just paid Matthew Stafford. He's making like $55 million a year. So it's like, does the hard cap exist for the Rams? I mean, I guess not, but I'm excited to see it because Myles Garrett never been on the team. Well, he been on a decent team, I think, that 1 year with Baker Mayfield, but he never been on a team like this. This is a super team level team right here. It's a super team. The Rams acquired one of the best corners in the league and the best defensive player in the league. That's kind of crazy to me. And they only gave up 2 first-round picks. I mean, and Jared Verse, I mean, people, I think people overrating Jared Verse. He's like their third best young defensive lineman. They have Byron Young, and they do have Puna Ford, but they have Braden Fisk. So they do still have a talented D-line. I mean, you go Puna Ford that knows, you go Myles Garrett on one edge and Byron Young on the other. I mean, that's a formidable trio you have there. So, man, and the thing about it, they were already the favorite before they made this trade. So now it just raised their odds even more. But the thing about football is it's a long season and you have to peak at the right time. So it's not a foregone conclusion that they'll win the championship. It's not like Katie to the Warriors, but it kind of is a Katie to the Warriors. So I think it's a great move for the Rams. I mean, as far as the Browns, I'm not sure what the Browns, I mean, so you traded for this guy. He is from Ohio. Dayton made, that's what he says in his bio. I'm just not the biggest fan. I mean, think about it. Myles Garrett tripled this guy up in sacks. He had triple the amount of sacks he had, which is something crazy to say out loud. So, and then you have to pay him next year, which I mean, he'll probably want what, 30, 35 million, which I just don't think he's worth that. And the picks that you got back, they'll probably be late round picks. So, okay, you got a first, a second, and a third. Those picks will be in the 20s, probably at least in the 20s. So, I mean, I don't really know what the Cleveland Browns are doing. Todd Monken didn't seem too happy about it. He basically came out and told us, I don't have much control over the roster. And I mean, he's right. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I mean, you just got it. You have to pick the Rams to win the Super Bowl, I guess.
So yeah, Kay, that was the next question I was about to ask. They're the championship favorites, correct?
They were already the favorite before they got Myles Garrett.
Okay, so let's talk narrative talk. If they lose with this fully healthy roster, what's the conversations going in?
I mean, I guess it depends on who they lose to. Because football, football is a lot of things go into football. Yeah, a lot of things go into football. Because think about it, the Rams play in L.A. So if you mess around and not get the 1 seed, you may be going to Chicago, Green Bay, one of those cold places. And going from L.A. to Chicago, that's not even though they did it last year, that's not something that, that's easy. So it's not a foregone. It's never a foregone conclusion in football. I mean, I think the Patriots taught us that in 2007 when they choked that Super Bowl. It's just the better team doesn't always win in football. It's who's better on that day, who coaches better on that day. So yeah, I don't. It's not a foregone conclusion, but they are the heavy favorite to come out of the NFC.
I mean, and especially at the playoffs, that snow in Chicago can get wicked. I mean, you could take Matthew Stafford out the game with no game plan. It could just be natural, and you can't throw the ball. Everybody running the ball. I mean, even then, I guess with Myles Garrett, you got a good chance of stopping the run because he's a big body and one of the best edge rushers in the league, and not the best, but I mean, I just I really don't know, as a unrelated but Dodgers fan, LA teams obviously spend money, but they're gonna be high, high profile. They wanna be, they're in LA, it's a big city. They wanna be, I mean, having super teams, honestly. Dodgers have one, Rams seem to have one, Lakers, I mean, they've tried to get some.
They're
It's worked
trying,
out a
yeah.
little better for them in the past, I guess. But LA teams wanna be, high money, high flash, big salary cap, big, touching the hard cap, all that. So I think this is just something that kind of fits LA. But like I said, I couldn't be more happy to not see Myles Garrett 2 times a year. But moving on to another big name trade we had, finally coming to an end. AJ Brown finally got out of Philadelphia, going to the Patriots for a 2028 first round pick and a 2027 fifth round pick. I mean, the writing's been on the wall since who knows when. I mean, as somebody who drafted AJ Brown last year in fantasy, I saw the struggles firsthand. I mean, I don't know how many games he had where he was, a number one receiver in fantasy. Some of that might be because of him. Some of that might be for other reasons that I'm sure Kay will get into for us. But I don't know. I mean, going to the AFC, Drake May, they're obviously trying to get better and get back to that, championship level. So I think it's, a good trade for them. Seems like AJ Brown's pretty happy about it. Said he wanted to go there out of college to play with Tom Brady. Obviously, Brady's not there, but we got, Drake May, who's a up and coming quarterback, MVP winner, and how y'all
Yeah.
feeling about that?
Yeah, I mean, you said all the right things here. This is kind of something that it broke out probably a couple months ago. And the reason they waited till June 1st is because of how the money works and the cap hit and things like that. So that's why they waited. But I think everybody, we knew that this would happen. And I mean, for the Eagles, I started the Eagles. For the Eagles, I mean, you weren't a great passing team with AJ Brown. So it's not like, yeah, he's a damn good player, but I'm not gonna say I think you can replace AJ Brown by committee. I mean, you have Smitty, you have Mekhi Lemon. They just drafted the best tight end in the draft, Eli Stowers, and they also drafted Mekhi Lemon, who a lot of people were high on, and they do have a new offensive coordinator coming in. But of course, the Eagles, it's about how good would Jalen Hurts play. I'm not the biggest fan of Jalen Hurts. He went to Alabama, which is my school. I'm still not the biggest fan of him. He's just a guy who doesn't want to take risks with the football, and so he just doesn't throw over the middle. He won't throw over the middle. He don't want to take any chance with the football. And I mean, with the team he has, it's not a bad way to play because that defense will keep the score down. They won. I remember they won against the Bills like 14-13, something crazy like that. They won a close game against the Chiefs. Their defense held them down. But that's just not the way you want to play week in and week out. And, the Eagles proved me right because they didn't pay Jalen Hurts. This is the last year of guaranteed money he has on his contract. So this is kind of like a proven year for Jalen Hurts. And I mean, I don't know what to say. But one thing I will say is winning the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts is an insane accomplishment. It just is. I mean, Nick Saban couldn't even win with this guy. Think about that. Nick Saban couldn't even win with Jalen Hurts playing quarterback. A lot of people don't understand how great that 2017 Bama team was, but we'll talk about it now. I do think the Eagles will still be in contention for the division because they have the best defense. They have probably the best offensive line. They're just a more talented team than a lot of teams in their division. But when he gets to the playoffs, Jalen Hurts will have to throw the football, and that's just something that he's not great at. He's never been great at. And as far as the Patriots, I mean, the Patriots had a cupcake schedule last year. I think they played 11 teams who were below 500 last year, which is crazy. That's
crazy.
11 out of 17. And I mean, they're in the division with the Jets and the Dolphins, so that's probably 3 free wins a year.
Yeah, easy wins.
3. But, their biggest competition is the Bills in that division. And I think that trade to keep them in the mix. I don't think, they're at the top of the top. with the Baltimore Ravens, but I think it'll put him in the mix. So we'll just have to see. I mean, Drake May, we seen what he did in the playoffs, but he's a young player. He's a young player, so I cut him slack for that. And they did fix the O line. They drafted the guy in Utah, Caleb Mumu. They brought in another. I think that's Philly brought in Weeks. But I mean, they're trying to help Drake May because one thing we know about football, when you're on that rookie scale contract, you want to go for it. You know, you want to make big moves. So yeah, I mean, I think that trade put them right in the mix. They'll be a playoff team next year. The Patriots.
Agree with that. Now you said something about, teams that'll contend in their division because of good defense or whatever. You said the Ravens were at the top. Now we talking about Ravens division. I think you know where I'm going here. Pittsburgh Steelers. We signed Nick Herbig to a
Mhm.
4-year, $100 million extension. He said it was his desire to be a Steeler for life. He sat out individual drills earlier today, but obviously it
Mm.
didn't take long for that to get that figured out. Joey Porter also sitting out. We need to get that. Go
Wow.
ahead and get that figured out. But about Herbig, whatever. Not really sure how to pronounce it, I guess, but he's not really a starter. He's more like a Swiss Army knife type of defensive player. He can rush the passer. I think what was he had the highest pass rush win rate last year in the
Mm.
NFL.
Okay. Yeah,
And he
that's
had
what
in
I'm.
this interception, 7.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 1 recovery for a touchdown, and a career high of 18 quarterback hits. So I think that just kinda is what the Steelers are. We need versatile defenders. Obviously, injuries have been a problem for us, so it'll be good to have a guy that can, play a little linebacker, play some edge. I think that's always good, and any team can use that. But, more specifically, I think our defense has been our strong suit for as long as I can remember. People used to tell me all the time, like, Ben was bad and hurt. Aaron Rodgers is old. We were gonna have to go out here with, possibly Drew Allar or Will Howard. And as a Steelers fan, obviously you want a great quarterback, but our defense has been our calling card for, you know, even when Ben was trash, couldn't throw the ball 15 yards in a spiral, we still had managed to not have a losing record just because of the defense. That year we started 11-0. I mean, we caught the injury bug like no other, but the defense carried. It wasn't because of our offense. Our defense has always been the reason why we win games. And when you go from being able to hold teams, make teams punt, to now they getting field goals, they're pinning you deep in your red zone instead of the other way around. You got to drive all the way down the field with a lackluster quarterback. Now it starts to show like offense is weak, but the defense, I think, in this sport more than any, defense wins championships for real. And I think I like this. I like this signing. Like I said, keep guys that want to be there. I think that's just like, kind of the Steeler way. It's more of a culture thing, I think, with the Steelers than a best player here, there type of thing. Like I know, what's his name? Peyton Wilson out of NC State, I want to say. He's been in the league couple years now. He's been getting better. He plays super hard. Like that's the type of guys that, we want to get to. And think obviously the Ravens are the best team in the division, but when they have to come see us, it's no easy game. The Browns and Bengals, I mean, Bengals can be good, I guess. The Browns not so much, but I say all this is, we could go 2-15, and actually, I'd be happy so we could get a top pick. But go ahead, Kay.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up right where you left off at the end. I think it would just be best for the Steelers to go 2-15 or 3-14 or something like that because being in the middle of the pack, it's no lottery in football, so you're not gonna move up like the Spurs do. So you'll be stuck. You'll be stuck in the middle, picking 15, 17, and you'll miss out on all the elite quarterbacks. So, but the Steelers have done a great job of drafting at least defensive players. Nick Herbig, he was a 4th-round pick out of Wisconsin. I put up his stats. He did have 7.5 sacks last year, 13 tackles for loss. So, I mean, you take that, and he's a young player. So, you do want to lock down the young players, especially the Steelers. They're like the oldest team in the league. I mean, you got TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, those guys are old. And one thing I do want to say, I one or both of those guys could be on the move probably, near the trade deadline because
Yeah.
you're not winning anything with Cam Hayward. He's what? How old is Cam Hayward? He's at least 35. So I would just sell high on Cam Hayward, and try to rebuild.
Hmm.
He's probably a Hall of Famer. Even they did. I think they just paid him because I'm pretty sure he held out last
Hmm.
year to get paid.
Yeah, I want to say he just got paid not too long ago.
Yeah, and he hasn't missed a game in 2 years, so I think this is the perfect time to sell high on him. Give him a chance to go compete for a Super Bowl because I just don't think the Steelers are ready to compete for a Super Bowl. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, yeah, that's the only reason I would pause because Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you trade off your best defenders, and it's like how would Aaron Rodgers feel about that? So he probably wants to go out. He wants to at least probably make the playoffs, which is not in the best interest of the Steelers, like I was saying. So, man, the
About that,
Steelers
K.
are.
Well, I was just gonna say about that. I mean, I'm kind of torn myself right now because, like you said, Cam Hayward, T.J. Watt, these are old guys, but these are also guys that we drafted, we brought to the league. So
Yeah,
it's hard to want to just give those guys away. I
true
now,
Hall of
out of
Famers.
respect for them, if we're trash, like I know there's not too many mid-season trades in football. I guess it's a little different in basketball, but if we look up and we're competing and Aaron Rodgers is looking good and the team's looking good and we have a playoff shot, I'm not mad at them going to go ahead and try to get that just because you don't want Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, he didn't sign to be a tanking team, right?
Mm.
And so I just think that if we can, look good, keep him. If not, I don't want to. I mean, you can't waste years in football, especially Cam Hayward. He's been playing since 2011. Like
Yeah,
you don't want to waste years. I mean, out of respect for him, if he wants to leave, go ahead and get him out of now. If he wants to stay, I'm all for keeping him. But if he wants to go compete for a championship, which he deserves the right to do, I
yeah.
mean, I'm for it. Also, though, but kind of your point about the draft, right? So we drafted Drew Lar, and he was last year. He was, supposed to be a top quarterback. Ended up going back
Hmm.
to college, didn't go
Super
well.
talented.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get in those conversations for no reason. Like Shadur, he slid, and we've seen flashes of him showing some greatness. Like you don't get to be in top pick conversations for no reason. I don't care how your season goes out, whether you get hurt. Like you're there for a reason. Your skill
Yeah.
set's there. You have something that puts you in that category. So I think being behind Aaron Rodgers and working with Mike McCarthy too. I mean, obviously, you've seen what they did with Aaron Rodgers. So if we can,
Hmm.
try to pass him that to Drew Lar,
Yeah.
and we can kind of, use this to bridge the gap, and maybe if we luck up, and I mean, the quarterback room next year should be pretty deep as far as the draft goes. So we might be able to get a solid pick at 15, 16 if we don't like how Drew Lar looks, or if we know Rodgers retiring, and we want a real quarterback battle. I mean, I think we can, do what we can there, but mediocrity is annoying in football. Trust me, as
Worst
much as I
place to
love to
be.
say we've never had a losing season since who knows when, we haven't done anything
Yeah.
since because of that same reason. You can't be mediocre and not sign free agents and not, go get big trades. So I think we gotta the season's gonna play it by ear, see how the season goes. If it's looking like we start off 0-5, 0-6, hey, might need to move some guys. If we start off, 5-1, 4-2,
Yeah.
we get I can't remember what our schedule is exactly, but
Yeah,
if we
I
have
was
a
gonna
chance
say
to
I
start
got the
off
schedule
hot,
pulled up right here.
what we talking about?
I got your schedule pulled up right here. You got the Falcons first. You can win that game. The
Yep.
Patriots, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Indianapolis, Tampa Bay, the Saints, and Cleveland. So I mean, you can start.
Yeah.
We can probably get like 4 or 5 of those games. I wouldn't be
About to say
surprised
a
going into
game
that
or
bye
2 over
week.
500.
Yeah, but it does get a lot tougher after that bye week. You go at Cincinnati, at
Yeah, you ain't
Philadelphia,
said the Ravens
Denver,
once.
Houston, at Jacksonville, Baltimore, Carolina, Tennessee, and then at Baltimore to end the season. So
Mm.
honestly, I feel like if you don't win 5 of those, first 8 games, I think you just, start tearing it down. I mean, I know Rodgers will hate it, like I said, but I think you just start tearing it down because I mean that back half of that schedule is brutal. So, and you don't want to be mediocre again. So I think
Because once you didn't say the Ravens at all in that first half, I was like, "Ooh, that
yeah,
back half
yeah,
gonna
you
be
don't have
tough."
the Ravens at
And I
all in
forgot
the
we were
first
going
half.
at Philly, which
Mm-hmm.
isn't gonna be
Then you
fun.
got Houston. Look, in a row, you got these 3 straight games in November. You have at Philly, Denver come to Pittsburgh, and you have Houston, and then at Jacksonville, and then the Ravens again.
Yeah,
So
and Jacksonville is not gonna be a sweet win.
yeah, Jacksonville, yeah, they have a, strong coach, strong foundation. I mean, yeah. The Steelers in the tricky spot, as they've been for the past 5, 6 years. So I think
Longer than
they're in a
that.
fork in the road situation. So they gotta, I mean, but it's hard though. You have a team full of vets, those guys don't want to tank for next year. Those guys know they're nearing the end of the line. So I mean, I definitely don't envy the Steelers organization because it's just a tough place to be, man. Why you laugh, Mark? Bro, I'm serious.
Yeah,
Like,
y'all,
bro,
y'all making it sound sad, bro.
it's the worst
Bro,
place to be because
Y'all
you
making
miss
it
yes.
out on
sound
all the
sad,
elite
bro.
prospects, bro.
Look, Mark, as long as we ain't had no losing season, what have we done with it? We hadn't won a
Nothing.
playoff game since I could drive.
When
It's
was
been
the
that
last time
long.
y'all won a playoff
2015.
game?
Yeah, I can say like 2015, 2016, bro. They've
Or it
been
might have
like
been
9 and
2016
7.
before I turned 16, but I know for a fact it was before I got my driver's license that
Was that
we won a
Was that
playoff game.
Le'Veon Bell in them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
But
yeah.
even that team, I mean, I just all of our playoff woes are just nightmares to me. I mean, we lost to Tim Tebow in the play. Like, never mind.
So,
Anywho,
but my question before we continue is like, why I understand like the Cam Hayward and like the TJ Watt situation, but why do y'all have to be like this loyal tree to Aaron Rodgers? If y'all want to blow it up, go blow it up. I don't think
Yeah.
y'all have
I
to.
mean, well, my assumption is that you don't sign him with the intention of being trash. Because what's the point? You know what I mean?
Would you not sign
Unless,
him to get your younger players better?
I mean, I was about to say, unless he's coming back as a mentor, but if that's the case, he shouldn't be playing. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't
Mm.
matter then. If he's coming back to be a mentor, then why would he care if we blow it up?
Well, I'm talking about do y'all have like any young like wide receivers or running backs or anything? I just think he would be like a good stepping stone, like CP3 for like the Spurs or something. Like
Yeah, I
you know
don't
what
think.
I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think it's like that in football. I think more continuity with the player you're going to be catching the ball from
Hmm.
and getting the ball handed off to you from is better than getting words of wisdom thrown at you from Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Especially because, like I said, he's only going to be here a year probably.
Mm. And
We
A-Rod
got
also
Jimmy
isn't that type of
Bernard.
person either, by the way. I
Yeah.
don't think he's that
Yeah,
type of character
yeah.
that want to
And we
teach
got we got
somebody.
we got Jimmy Bernard out the draft. I mean, I think me personally, if I was looking for the future, I want him catching as many passes from Drew Lock as possible. If that's who I think, I'm sure. I mean, what mini camp or whatever team workouts have started now, so I'm sure once they get more towards the season, we'll have obviously a depth chart go up, and I think that'll tell us kind of what we're looking at. If Aaron Rodgers is starting with no kind of battle, I think it's we're gonna try to win. We're gonna go see, and even he could get traded. You never know. I mean, I just maybe he's out there auditioning for, a playoff run where somebody, quarterback gets hurt or a team that just doesn't have a quarterback that's looking pretty good. They could pounce on him and try to, get a game manager for somebody because obviously in
Mm.
that situation their defense will be the winning team, I guess. But speaking of now, I mean, Herbig just signed or 100 mil, right, for 4 years. I don't know how much of that's guaranteed, but Drake London out of Atlanta just signed
Mm.
a 4 year, 141 with the potential to get up to 150 with incentives and a guaranteed contract of 4 years, 100 million, 100% guaranteed.
Mm.
That's a lot.
But I don't know, K, your boy, Tua, he better, I guess he got his number one option. I mean, he's the third highest paid receiver in the league behind JSN and
And Jamar.
Jamar Chase. Is he
Yeah.
worthy of that? Is that, I mean, I don't even know if Drake London's top five, but I mean, we know,
He's
you know how
not.
contracts work in the NFL. Once one guy gets paid, everybody wants to get paid, and I mean, it's kind of hard not to pay somebody as an NFL team because you don't have access to like Jamar Chase and Jackson Smith and Jigba. So you kind of got to give your number one guy that money, especially if he's kind of earned it. I mean, I'd say Drake London. I mean, no, he's not. I don't think he's this, but he's a solid receiver. He's pretty good, number one option.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of money. But hey, I'm not gonna hate. I mean, shout out to Drake London.
But to your point, Justin, if not him, who? Like, who else are you
That's
giving that
yeah,
money to?
yeah. That's the thing. You gotta. I mean, you might as well use it. But
Yeah. So I'm fine with the contract, even though it says he's like paid higher than Justin Jefferson and CD. That's low key a little nasty. But hey, if there's nobody else to if there's nobody else to pay, then hey, you got to pay your guy.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. They don't have any. I mean, boy, they gotta pay their running back too. They gotta pay
hmm
Bijan, so he'll
yeah,
probably.
they gotta try to extend him and Kyle Pitts. They got a tag on
Yeah,
Kyle
I
Pitts
got
this year.
about Pitts. Yeah. So yeah, cause yeah, I remember that back in like 2022, we was talking about how they had that, they had a nice trio. They had Pitts, Bijan, and Drake London. I mean, they just never did anything with it, and they didn't got a coach fired now, so kind of like back to square one. Why you
Yeah.
laughing? I'm dead serious, like bro. When it's
They
time.
didn't got a coach fired. It's crazy.
Because look,
Like
Kyle
it's their
Pitts coming to
fault.
the league, well, he was viewed as a generational talent, bro. He probably like a Darren Peterson level prospect, bro.
Here we go with this. Here we go with this generation.
He was like, he was a generation, bro. Mark, what pick you think Kyle Pitts win the draft as a tight end?
Probably top 5. I'm assuming.
I think he went like 4th, bro, which is crazy for a tight end. And I mean, I'm not gonna say
Yeah,
he
he went
never
4th.
lived up to it, but he hasn't dominated the league like his pick would suggest. But
Well, what?
I mean, I don't know how many, I guess tight end, how many yards they get, but he only has 1,000 yard season on his
yeah, I can
career.
say I mean that's decent that's good for a tight end.
Yeah.
You get like 900 to 13.
But I mean, even then, he got 1,000 yards and he got 928 Last year, the year before last, I guess he had 602. The year before that, 667.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He just haven't lived up to it.
So okay,
Only
with
a
that,
career high 5 touchdowns. Yeah.
what I'm
Has
trying to see is
15 career TDs, bro.
where does he rank in the tight ends in the NFL?
I mean, he was second team all pro last season, so that's not, that's not easy. So I
Yeah,
mean, top 8, somewhere around there. But it's like that's why they're hesitating to pay him, because it's like, okay, he had his, probably his best season during the contract season. You know how, dudes try hard when it's a
yeah,
contract season. So it's like
fake
they probably just
season,
want to see it again.
which I definitely
88
I
catches.
definitely
I mean,
understand.
88 catches, that's a
I
damn good
mean,
season.
he was second in receiving yards, second in receptions. Dang, Trey McBride was like that.
Hell yeah. McBride, he had like 100 catches, didn't it?
He had 126 catches. McBride had
Damn,
126 catches for 1239 and 11 touchdowns.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So he had 1.77 yards per route ran. Kyle Pitts had 1.69. So I mean, he's not far off. He had a great year last year. I guess
9.8
obviously
yards a catch is nasty.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. For
He now
what this kid
Kyle
named
Pitts needs to get that
McBride.
touchdown rate up though, because
Yeah, definitely, bro.
he fell to 14 after being second in yards and catches. So I think obviously that's the discrepancy that's kind of keeping him from being in that elite range.
Mm.
Because there's plenty Dallas Goedert, Trey McBride, Kobe Parsons, Jake Ferguson, George Kittle. I mean, there's multiple names before we get to Kyle Pitts on touchdown. So we'll see if he can increase that with a solid quarterback he has now in Tua Tagovailoa, aka Tua turn the ball over.
Hey
But
man,
yeah, that's all I got. Okay, you got Mark. You got something?
that's it, man. That's
Hey, well, the first little gridiron episode. More to come soon as the season starts to ramp up. More things happen. And I'm gonna say it one last time. Steelers, we gonna win that ring this year.
all right, y'all. We out.